Hello dear friends, once again it's hearty welcome. Dear friends, in our previous lecture we have started the study of nervous tissue or neural tissue, and I told you that the nervous tissue, it forms the nervous system and it consists of different components such as the neuron or nerve cell, nerve fiber, nerves, ganglia, basal nuclei, neuroglial cells, and so on. In our previous lecture, we have discussed about the structure of neuron, structure of nerve cell. आपण या ठिकाणी नर्वस टिश्यूचा अभ्यास करतोय, चेताउतींचा अभ्यास करतोय आणि नर्वस टिश्यू मध्ये असणारे जे वेगवेगळे घटक आहेत त्यांचा अभ्यास करत असताना आपल्या आधीच्या लेक्चर मध्ये आपण न्यूरॉन, नर्व सेल अर्थात चेतापेशीची रचना कशी असते याचा अभ्यास केलेला आहे. And in this lecture we are going to cover the study of remaining components of neural tissue. All of you are known and we have studied last time that the neuron, it consists of two main components such as the cyton, that is cell body, and from this cyton it arises two different types of processes, the short and much branched processes known as dendrites, here I am going to show, and a single elongated usually unbranched process known as axon. Let me label here. These are supposed to be dendrites. We have already studied. And here is axon. Now, first of all, in this lecture, we have to learn about the nerve fibers. I have drawn here the diagram deliberately just to know what does it mean nerve fibers. मराठी मध्ये आपण nerve fibers ला चेतातंतू असं म्हणतो. But after all, what is nerve fiber? What are nerve fibers? Nerve fibers are nothing but these are the processes arising from the cyton or cell body of neuron. And here I have drawn, I have labeled, there are two main types of processes arising from the cyton of neuron, that is nothing but the dendrites and axon. And therefore the nerve fibers means these are the dendrites or axon arising from the cyton or cell body of neuron, and these dendrites and axon are covered either by single covering, single sheath, or maybe double sheath, about which we are going to discuss in detail just after a few minutes. So initially we people have to learn what is nerve fiber. Nerve fibers are nothing but these are axon or dendrites. Axon or dendrites arising from cyton or cell body of neuron. Now we people have to understand the types of nerve fibers. आता या ठिकाणी आपल्याला nerve fibers चे प्रकार शिकायचे. Structurally the nerve fibers are of two types. नर्व फायबर्सचे त्यांच्या रचनेनुसार दोन प्रकार पाडले जातात, such as medullated or myelinated nerve fiber and non-medullated or non-myelinated nerve fiber. Medullated, or it may be called as myelinated nerve fibers, and second non-medullated or non-myelinated nerve fibers. Let me tell you what is the basic difference between these two. Medullated nerve fiber, it shows central core, or we can say axis cylinder. Here I am going to show. Here is axis cylinder. It may be called as neuroaxis, and this axis cylinder or neuroaxis is covered by means of a whitish sheath, whitish covering called as myelin sheath or may be known as medullary sheath. This myelin sheath or medullary sheath is formed of lipids and proteins, and this myelin sheath, medullary sheath, is further covered by means of another sheath, another covering, that is nothing but the neurilemma. Now you might have learned that this myelin sheath is not continuous, it is interrupted at some places. ही जी myelin sheath आहे ही कंटिन्यू नसते, ती काही ठिकाणी ब्रेक झालेली असते आणि ज्या पॉइंट्सला myelin sheath ब्रेक झालेली असते that points are known as node of Ranvier. Now as in this type of nerve fiber, the axis cylinder is wrapped within the myelin sheath, medullary sheath, and that's why such type of nerve fibers are said to be medullated nerve fiber or myelinated nerve fiber. While non-medullated or non-myelinated, name itself indicates, non stands for none, that is absent. What is absent? Medullary sheath is absent, myelin sheath is absent. Means in this type of nerve fibers, the axis cylinder, neuroaxis, is not wrapped by myelin sheath, but simply there is a presence of neurilemma. There is a presence of neurilemma. Here I have shown. So the basic difference between these two types of nerve fibers is that in medullated or myelinated nerve fibers, the medullary sheath is present around the axis cylinder, while in non-medullated or non-myelinated nerve fiber, the medullary or myelin sheath is absent. Question arises, what is the advantage of this medullary sheath? All of you are known that nerve fibers are responsible for the conduction of nerve impulses. Nerve fibers, चेतातंतूंचं कार्य आहे विद्युत संवेदना, nerve impulse हा कॅरी करणं. Now the medullary sheath, myelin sheath, it facilitates a very quick transmission, quick conduction of electric impulses, nerve impulses. It is found that the medullated nerve fibers can conduct the nerve impulse at the rate of about 140 meters per second. On the other hand, the non-medullated nerve fiber, they conduct impulses comparatively slow, that is near about 25 to 40 meters per second. Anyway, so here we have understood about the types of nerve fibers on the basis of its structure, on the basis of presence or absence of medullary sheath. या ठिकाणी त्या ॲक्सिस सिलेंडर भोवती मेडुलरी शीथ आहे की नाही याच्या आधारावर या ठिकाणी आपण दोन नर्व फायबरचे प्रकार पाहिलेत आणि मी सांगितलं की मेडुलेटेड नर्व फायबर्स हे जास्त एफिशियंट आहे कारण ते अतिशय वेगाने विद्युत संवेदनेचं वहन करत असतात. या उलट तुलनात्मक दृष्ट्या नॉन मेडुलेटेड नर्व फायबर हे कमी वेगाने विद्युत संवेदनेचं वहन करत असतात. Now, second thing, we people have to understand about the neuron polarity. The nerve fibers always conduct impulses in one direction. Nerve fibers हे एकाच दिशेने विद्युत संवेदनेचं वहन करत असतात. It means, suppose in this nerve cell, in this neuron, the dendrites, they bring impulses towards the cyton, while that nerve impulse, that electric impulse is carried away from the cyton by means of axon. Okay, it means in this neuron, one end it receives an electric impulse, while at the another end the impulse is discharged. It means it is conducted or it is, we can say, transferred to the next neuron. This tendency is known as neuron polarity. आपल्याला या ठिकाणी लक्षात घ्यायचे आहे की या ठिकाणी मी एक चेतापेशी दाखवली आहे, नर्व सेल दाखवली आहे. मग या सायटॉन कडे विद्युत संवेदना आणण्याचे कार्य डेंड्राइट्स करत असतात आणि सायटॉन पासून ती विद्युत संवेदना दूर नेण्याचे कार्य हे एक्झॉन करत असतात. It means an electric impulse is conducted in one direction only. This is nothing but the polarity shown by the nerve cell, shown by the neuron. Now let us talk about the types of nerve fibers on the basis of their function. Nerve fibers चे कार्य काय याच्या आधारावर त्यांचे प्रकार पाडले जातात. या ठिकाणी आपण त्यांच्या रचनेनुसार दोन प्रकार पाहिलेले आहेत. आता त्यांच्या कार्यानुसार ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फंक्शन देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ नर्व फायबर्स. लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू. टाइप्स ऑफ नर्व फायबर्स ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ देयर फंक्शन. फंक्शनली द नर्व फायबर्स आर ऑफ टू मेजर टाइप्स such as sensory or afferent nerve fibers, and second motor or efferent nerve fibers. Just now we have studied that the nerve cells or neuron, they conduct impulses only in one direction, that is known as polarity. Now what does it mean? Sensory or afferent nerve fiber. Very simple. Those nerve fibers which conduct impulses from receptor organs or peripheral organs towards central nervous system CNS are known as sensory or afferent nerve fibers. Let me write. Those nerve fibers which conduct impulses from receptors to the CNS central nervous system are said to be sensory or afferent. Receptors म्हणजे काय ते आपल्याला या चॅप्टर मध्ये शेवटी डिटेल शिकायचं आहे. बट हियर temporarily I would like to tell you the specialized structures which are meant to receive various external stimuli are known as receptors. ज्या अवयवांच्या माध्यमातून, ज्या स्ट्रक्चर्सच्या माध्यमातून आपण बाह्य संवेदना स्वीकारत असतो त्यांना रिसेप्टर्स असे म्हणतात. से स्किन, इट acts as the receptor, eyes acts as the receptor. So the different structures or organs which receive external stimuli are said to be receptors, and from that receptors electric impulses are conducted to the brain or spinal cord, that is central nervous system, by means of nerve fiber which are known as sensory or afferent nerve fiber. विविध अवयवांकडून आपल्या मध्यवर्ती चेतासंस्थेकडे म्हणजेच ब्रेन किंवा स्पायनल कॉर्डकडे विद्युत संवेदनेचं वहन करणाऱ्या चेतातंतूंना afferent किंवा sensory nerve fiber म्हणतात. या उलट those nerve fibers which conduct impulses away from CNS, that is from central nervous system to the effector organs. Effector organs. These effector organs are mostly in the form of muscles or in the form of glands. Effector काय हेही आपल्याला चॅप्टरच्या शेवटी शिकायचं आहे. But effector organ means the organ through which response is given to any particular stimulus. कोणत्याही विशिष्ट संवेदनेला ज्या अवयवांच्या माध्यमातून प्रतिसाद दिला जातो त्यांना म्हटलं जातं इफेक्टर. इफेक्टर ऑर्गन्स आर मोस्टली मसल्स और ग्लँड्स. एनिवे, नाउ कम टू द नेक्स्ट टर्म, that is gray matter and white matter. Actually the nervous tissue which forms our central nervous system, that is brain and spinal cord, is of two types. ब्रेन आणि स्पायनल कॉर्ड यांना तयार करणारा जो नर्वस टिश्यू आहे, ज्या चेता उती आहे, त्यांचे दोन प्रकार पाडले जातात, ग्रे मॅटर अँड व्हाईट मॅटर. लेट अस टॉक ग्रे मॅटर. Gray matter, it is the nervous tissue which appears grayish in color and it mostly contains abundant large number of cytons of neurons associated with its dendrites and proximal end of axon. Okay? ग्रे मॅटर हा जो नर्वस टिश्यू आहे तो ग्रेइश कलरचा असतो आणि त्याच्यामध्ये प्रामुख्याने खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणावर न्यूरॉन, नर्व सेल, चेतापेशीच्या सायटॉन्स आणि सायटॉन पासून अराइज झालेल्या उगम पावलेल्या डेंड्राइट्स तसंच प्रॉक्सिमल एंड ऑफ एक्झॉन, याचा अर्थ एक्झॉनचा सुरुवातीचा भाग हा प्रामुख्याने प्रेझेंट असतो. लेट मी शो इन डायग्राम. सपोज हियर इज वन्स अगेन consider the cyton. Okay, we know that these are the dendrites and here is the axon. Now this much part what I have written there, that is the cyton along with its dendrites and proximal part of axon is mainly present in the gray matter. खरं वास्तविक आपल्या सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे, आपण शिकलोय की या सायटॉन मध्ये there are presence of nasal granules which appear slightly grayish in color, and of course because of that nasal granules cyton appear grayish in color and abundant or mass of cytons togetherly gives gray color to that nervous tissue, hence known as the gray matter. मी आता असं सांगितलं की या सायटॉन मध्ये निझल्स ग्रॅन्युल्स असतात असं आपण शिकलो की ज्यामुळे त्या सायटॉनला ग्रेइश कलर आलेला असतो आणि अशा ग्रेइश कलरच्या असंख्य सायटॉन्स ज्या नर्वस टिश्यू मध्ये प्रेझेंट असतात, पर्यायाने तो नर्वस टिश्यू हा ग्रे कलरचा दिसतो आणि म्हणून त्याला ग्रे मॅटर असं म्हणतात. या उलट द व्हाईट मॅटर इट अपियर्स व्हाईटिश इन कलर अँड इट मेनली कन्सिस्ट ऑफ मेडुलेटेड नर्व फायबर्स. Myelinated nerve fibers. Just now we people have studied that medullated or myelinated nerve fiber contain medullary sheath, and that medullary sheath gives whitish color to the nerve fiber, and thus the nervous tissue in which abundant medullated such white colored nerve fibers are present, it appears whitish in color and hence it is known as the white matter. Of course, the brain and spinal cord, it consists of gray matter as well as white matter. Now, let us move to the next term, that is nerve. Nerves. Cheta. Please don't get confused between two words, nerve fibers and nerves. Just now we have discussed about the nerve fibers, cheta tantu. And here we are going to discuss about the nerves, cheta. Let me explain you. Actually the nerves are nothing but these are whitish thread-like structure and it consists of bundles also known as fasciculi of nerve fibers. Mind well. It means many bundles of nerve fibers togetherly form the nerve. Nerve fiber च्या असंख्य बंडल्स एकत्रितपणे नर्व हे थिक थ्रेड लाइक स्ट्रक्चर तयार करत असतात. Mind well that the nerve fibers are held together. Many nerve fibers are held together by means of connective tissue known as endoneurium. Just consider. कल्पना करूया की या ठिकाणी हे नर्व फायबर्स आहेत आणि असे असंख्य नर्व फायबर्स हे कनेक्टिव्ह टिश्यू मुळे एकमेकाला बांधून ठेवले जातात. They are adhered together, they are bound together, they are held together by means of connective tissue known as endoneurium. Now, this is one bundle ऑफ नर्व फायबर. कल्पना करूया की या ठिकाणी नर्व फायबरचं हे एक बंडल आहे. दिस इज सिंगल फॅसिक्युलस. ओके, and here in this single fasciculus many nerve fibers are held together by means of endoneurium. Such many fasciculi, such many bundles are held together by means of white connective tissue, white fibrous connective tissue known as perineurium, known as perineurium. Let me show in diagram. Suppose here is a single fasciculus. Consider या ठिकाणी एक नर्व फायबरचं बंडल मी दाखवलेलं आहे. ओके, consider here are many bundles of nerve fibers and 1 2 3 4 5. Suppose here are 5 bundles of nerve fibers. Here are 5 fasciculi of nerve fibers and they are held together by means of white fibrous connective tissue known as the perineurium. And all these bundles of nerve fibers, suppose in this diagram 5 bundles of nerve fibers are covered externally by means of again a white fibrous connective tissue which is known as epineurium. Epineurium. It means here is in this structure there are many bundles of nerve fibers which are wrapped in a sheath of white fibrous connective tissue that is nothing but the epineurium, and this structure represents the nerve. या ठिकाणी ही एक नर्व रिप्रेझेंट करते. म्हणजे आपल्याला हे लक्षात ठेवायचे की नर्व किंवा चेता ही कशाने तयार झाली आहे, तर मेनी बंडल्स ऑफ नर्व फायबर्स. ओके, नाउ द नर्व्स आर ऑफ अगेन 3 टाइप्स. नर्व्सचे 3 प्रकार पाडले जातात. लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू. फर्स्ट, सेंसरी or afferent nerves. Very simple. Just now we have discussed about the sensory or afferent nerve fibers. Same is here. Sensory or afferent nerves. The nerves which contain only sensory or afferent nerve fibers. ज्या nerves मध्ये फक्त आणि फक्त सेन्सरी किंवा afferent nerve fibers असतात, which are responsible to conduct impulses from peripheral organs to the CNS, की जे बाह्य अवयवांकडून मध्यवर्ती चेतासंस्थेकडे विद्युत संवेदनेचं वहन करतात, अशा नर्वला म्हटलं जातं सेन्सरी किंवा afferent. सेकंड, मोटार और इफरेंट नर्व. मोटार or efferent nerve. Now here motor nerves contain only bundles of motor or efferent nerve fibers. Means what? Just now we have studied. Means the nerve fibers which are responsible to conduct impulses from brain to the peripheral organs or from central nervous system to the effector organs. जे चेतातंतू मध्यवर्ती चेतासंस्थेकडून, ब्रेन कडून, स्पायनल कॉर्ड कडून इतर अवयवांकडे विद्युत संवेदना वाहून नेतात, त्यांना आपण मोटार किंवा इफरेंट नर्व फायबर्स म्हणतो. मग ज्या नर्व्स मध्ये अशा प्रकारचे मोटार किंवा इफरेंट नर्व फायबर्स असतात, त्या नर्व्सला म्हटलं जाईल मोटार किंवा इफरेंट नर्व. अर्थातच या नर्व्स सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टीम कडून अवयवांकडे विद्युत संवेदनेचं वहन करतील. while there is one more type of nerve, that is mixed nerves. Mixed, it means these nerves contain bundles of afferent as well as efferent nerve fibers. Try to understand. ज्या नर्व्स मध्ये afferent आणि efferent या दोन्ही प्रकारच्या नर्व्सचे बंडल्स असतील, अशा नर्व्सला म्हटलं जातं मिक्स्ड. And therefore, as these mixed nerves contain both type of nerves, sensory and motor or afferent and efferent, it means these nerves can conduct impulses from organs to the CNS as well as from CNS to the organ. It is a bidirectional traffic, and therefore such nerves are said to be the mixed nerves. Okay. Now we have to learn about one more important component, that is neuroglia. Let me explain you. Neuroglia. The neuroglia may be known as neuroglial cells or glial cells or simply glia. Let us stop. Another important component of nervous tissue. The neuroglia or glia, first of all, were discovered by a pathologist, namely Rudolf Virchow. In 1895, in his study of the connective tissue in brain. Actually here glia, glial cells or neuroglia, all these terms include one important part, that is glia. Actually glia, this word stands for glue. You know glue, adhesive, which is responsible for the binding of different objects, of different materials. In the same manner, here this type of cells are responsible to hold the nerve cells together in brain, in spinal cord. Means these cells supposed to be working as glue in brain and spinal cord. Therefore name is given as glia. These glial cells are also originated from the ectoderm. Basically these are originated from the ectoderm. Now these glial cells are of different types. Glial cells चे वेगवेगळे प्रकार आहेत, such as oligodendrocytes, then microcytes, then astrocytes, then Schwann cells, then ependymal cells, then satellite cells, etc. About which we are going to discuss here one by one each. Now let us start the study of types of glia, types of glial cells. Initially, let us discuss about the glial cells in CNS, central nervous system, that is in brain and spinal cord. Glia in CNS. There are 4 different types of glial cells found in central nervous system. First one is oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes. Now here oligo, this word stands for few. Dendro, this word stands for dendrites or processes. And CYTE, this word stands for the cell. It means these are the glial cells present in central nervous system, which are large in size, and show few processes. Let me show in diagram. These are comparatively larger in size, and here are presence of few processes. These oligodendrocytes are responsible for the production or synthesis of myelin sheath or medullary sheath in central nervous system. We have already studied myelin sheath or medullary sheath means it is a sheath, it is the layer of proteins and lipids present around the axon of certain nerve fibers. Okay, so here in central nervous system, mind well, in brain and spinal cord, these oligodendrocytes are responsible for the secretion of medullary sheath around the axons of nerve fibers. Come to the second type, दूसरा प्रकार, that is microglia. Name itself indicate again. Microglia, these are small sized glial cells and show large number of processes. These are small sized glial cells and show few processes. Let me show. Suppose here is a microglia and it shows few processes. Actually, these microglia are phagocytic in nature. Microglia acts as macrophages. It means these microglia reach at the site of injury and engulf and digest the dead nerve cells as well as cell debris. Means these are phagocytic in nature. मृत किंवा डेड अशा प्रकारच्या ज्या चेतापेशी आहेत त्यांना नष्ट करून टाकण्याचं काम या मायक्रोग्लिया करत असतात आणि म्हणून मी म्हटलं these are phagocytic cells. Come to the next, that is astrocytes. Astrocytes. Now here astro, this word stands for the aster, that is star. Cyte stands for the cell. These type of glial cells, these are also comparatively smaller and they show such processes because of which it looks like star, it looks like aster. Astrocytes has varied role in brain, but mainly these cells are responsible for the secretion and absorption of neurotransmitter in the brain. Neurotransmitter means the chemical substance which facilitates the transmission of nerve impulse across the synapse. Synapse काय आपण पुढे शिकणार आहोत, पण दोन नर्व सेलच्या जंक्शनला आपण सिनॅप्स म्हणतो आणि अर्थातच त्या सिनॅप्सच्या ठिकाणी दोन नर्व सेल्स मध्ये जी बारीक गॅप आहे तिला आपण सिनॅप्टिक क्लेफ्ट म्हणतो. सो that synaptic cleft, it does not allow the transmission of nerve impulse from one nerve cell to the another, and therefore at the time of conduction of nerve impulse from one nerve cell to the another, that cleft, that gap is filled by means of a chemical substance known as neurotransmitter. पर्यायाने त्या ठिकाणी न्यूरोट्रान्समीटर मुळे ती विद्युत संवेदना एका नर्व सेल कडून दुसऱ्या नर्व सेल कडे पास होत असते. या ठिकाणी हे एस्ट्रोसाइट्स हे these are responsible for the secretion as well as absorption of neurotransmitter and thus play important role in the transmission, in the regulation of transmission of nerve impulse in brain and spinal cord. Mind well, these astrocytes, these type of glial cells are most abundant type of glial cells in brain. ब्रेन मध्ये असणाऱ्या खूप जास्त प्रमाणात, सगळ्यात जास्त प्रमाणात असणाऱ्या या ग्लियल सेल्स आहेत. वन मोर टाइप ऑफ ग्लियल सेल्स प्रेझेंट इन द ब्रेन, that is ependymal cells. One more type of cells present in the central nervous system, not only brain, in brain as well as spinal cord. Actually, these ependymal cells are nothing but these are squamous or columnar or mostly ciliated epithelial cells. These are epithelial cells, either squamous epithelial cells or columnar epithelial cells, but mostly these are ciliated epithelial cells. Okay? These ependymal cells are present as a single layer of cells which form the lining of ventricles of brain as well as central canal of spinal cord. आपल्याला ब्रेन आणि स्पायनल कॉर्ड शिकत असताना याचा उल्लेख होईल. आता पण सांगतो, our brain is not solid structure, it is hollow structure. Brain encloses different cavities. ब्रेन हा hollow आहे, त्याच्यात पोकळ्या आहेत, त्याच्यात कॅव्हिटीज आहेत. स्पायनल कॉर्ड इज ऑल्सो हॉलो. आपला मज्जारज्जू स्पायनल कॉर्ड हा सुद्धा हॉलो आहे. मग ब्रेन मध्ये ज्या पोकळ्या असतात त्यांना वेंट्रिकल्स असं म्हणतात आणि त्या वेंट्रिकलचं लाइनिंग आतला थर एपेंडायमल सेल्सने तयार झालेला असतो. एवढंच नाही तर स्पायनल कॉर्ड मध्ये असणारी कॅव्हिटी जिला सेंट्रल कॅनॉल म्हणतात तिचा सुद्धा आतला थर internal layer lining, it is formed of ependymal cells, and these ependymal cells are responsible for the secretion of cerebrospinal fluid. CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. We shall discuss about it while studying the brain. But temporarily you just remember that CSF, it is a fluid which fills the cavities of brain as well as spinal cord, and this CSF is secreted by the ependymal cells. So here I told you the 4 different types of glia present in CNS, that is oligodendrocytes, microglia, astrocytes and ependymal cells. Now let us talk briefly about the 2 glial cells in peripheral nervous system. Glia in peripheral nervous system. What is peripheral nervous system? Peripheral nervous system include the nerves originating from brain and spinal cord. आपल्या सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे की सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टीम मध्यवर्ती चेतासंस्थेमध्ये ब्रेन आणि स्पायनल कॉर्ड यांचा समावेश होतो आणि ब्रेन आणि स्पायनल कॉर्ड पासून उगम पावणारे जे चेता आहेत त्यांचा समावेश पेरिफेरल नर्वस सिस्टीम मध्ये केला जातो, about which we shall talk later on once again in detail. Now this peripheral nervous system which include only the cranial nerves and spinal nerves. It means the nerves originating from brain and nerves originating from spinal cord consist of 2 types of glia. First, Schwann cells. Most abundant type of glial cells in peripheral nervous system. आपल्याला हे लक्षात घ्यायचं आहे. In central nervous system, astrocytes are most abundant. Central nervous system मध्ये astrocytes या प्रकारच्या glial cells सगळ्यात जास्त प्रमाणात प्रेझेंट आहे. कुठे? In central nervous system. But in peripheral nervous system, the abundant type of glial cells are Schwann cells. And these Schwann cells are also responsible to produce the myelin sheath, medullary sheath. Means it is analogous to the oligodendrocytes of central nervous system. ज्या पद्धतीने सेंट्रल नर्वस सिस्टीम मध्ये ऑलिगोडेंड्रोसाइट्स या प्रकारच्या ग्लियल सेल्स मायलिन शीथ, मेडुलरी शीथ तयार करतात, त्याच पद्धतीने पेरिफेरल नर्वस सिस्टीम मध्ये the Schwann cells are responsible for the production of myelin sheath. And the last type of glial cell in peripheral nervous system is satellite cells. Satellite cells. These satellite cells are mainly responsible just to help the functioning of neuron. It means they facilitate, they help the transmission of nerve impulses by neurons by nerve cells. So here we have discussed about the different types of glia, different types of glial cells in the central nervous system as well as peripheral nervous system. Now briefly let me tell you 2 more concepts. One, ganglion, plural ganglia, and second, basal nuclei. Ganglion or ganglia, these are nothing but simply the mass or aggregation of neurons. Mass or aggregation of neurons but present outside the CNS. Central nervous system च्या बाहेर असणाऱ्या न्यूरॉन्स किंवा नर्व सेल्सच्या मासेसला, एग्रीगेशन्सला, ग्रुप्सला गँग्लिया असं म्हणतात. ऑफ कोर्स that ganglia appears quite node-like structure, spherical structure due to the aggregation of large number of neurons. While the aggregation or mass of neurons in the white matter of brain are called basal nuclei. ब्रेन मध्ये असणारा जो व्हाईट मॅटर आहे त्यात असणाऱ्या न्यूरॉन्सच्या एग्रीगेशनला बेसल न्यूक्लियाय असं म्हणतात. सो हियर वी हॅव डिस्कस्ड ऑल अबाउट the remaining components of neural tissue or nervous tissue. Now we people have to understand about the synapse and all the related concepts with it. We shall discuss about it in our next lecture. So let us stop here today. Thank you and bye.